Hi everyone, this is Stella and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to continue with question 1.2 from Grade 5 Practice Exam 2022A. Question 1.2 is worth 1 mark and it's always the same type of question. Here they have given us one bar that is in simple time and they want you to rewrite it in compound time. So it could either be from simple time to compound time or vice versa. First thing we're going to look at is the original melody, which is this one here. Since we're working with rhythm, now basically the whole question 1 is about rhythm, and rhythm is about beats and time signature. So the first thing you want to look at is the time signature. Here we have 3/4 time. So what is 3/4 time? Now 3/4 time is just simple time. It means 3 crotchet beats in a bar. So what I'm going to do first is to group the notes into crotchet beats. So these 3 together, well, it's a triplet, right? So these 3 together would just make 1 crotchet beat. Now if you cross out the dot and cross out the tail from the second note, you can see it easily. Then these 2, well, they're beamed together like this. You always want to look at how the notes are beamed together, because if they're beamed together, they group together, they mean something. You want to read them together as a group. So here we have 2 quavers, and 2 quavers would make 1 crotchet beat. And the last one is just a crotchet beat. So you can see there are 3 crotchet beats in this bar. Now, when you rewrite it from simple time to compound time or vice versa, what do you need to do? You have to think about the grouping and the main beat of simple time and compound time. So in simple time, beats group into 2 like this, for example, okay, or I can draw it here, which means the main beat would be a crotchet here. This is just an example, so this is simple time. Now, and in compound time, notes are grouped into 3 like this, so 3 of them together in one group, which means the beat would now be dotted crotchet beats. So 3 in a group, because now you've got 3 quavers in a beat, right? Okay, now the thing is, when you change from simple time to compound time, for example, so this is what this question is about, right? When you change the rhythm, you are just changing the time signature and the grouping. The rhythm needs to be exactly the same. For example, right, here we've got in the original rhythm, that triplet consists of a dotted quaver, a semiquaver, and a quaver. So when you change it to compound time, it has to sound exactly the same. So it will still be a dotted quaver, a semiquaver, and a quaver. You cannot change the rhythm into something else, okay? You have to keep it exactly the same. What you would do is, rule number 1, you will either add or remove a dot or the dot. Now, for example, if you are going from simple time to compound time, you see how you need to add the dot now, because from group of 2, it's now become group of 3. Or if you are going from compound time to simple time, you have to take away the dot because now the beats are grouped into 2 instead of 3. So that will be rule number 1. And for rule number 2, again, you're going to add or remove a number. So a number from what? From the duplet with a number 2 here, or the triplet with a number 3 here. Okay, so when you think about it, right, in simple time, this is how the notes will be grouped together. They're grouped into 2. If you want to keep the same rhythm, just boom, boom, 2 quavers like that, when you change it to compound time, it doesn't make sense to have this because there's no such thing like this in compound time because everything should be in 3, right? Now what you can do is you add a number to it to change it into the duplet, because when you have a duplet of 2 quavers, it actually equals to 3 quavers. That would be the beat in compound time. So when you go from simple time to compound time, you will have to add number 2. If you go from compound time to simple time, you just have to remove the 2. So you either add or remove the number 2. Same thing with the triplet. Now here, group of 3 is how you should group the notes in compound time, but when you change it to simple time, well, because you are supposed to group the notes into 2 only, if you group them into 3, you will have 1 extra quaver here, right? That will make a dotted crotchet, which is not the correct beat in simple time. So you can solve that by adding a number 3 there to change it into a triplet. Well, because when you have a triplet of 3 quavers, it equals to just the time of 2 quavers. So if you are changing from compound time to simple time, you will add a 3. But if you are going from simple time to compound time, you would remove the 3. Okay? So you just need to add a number 2 on top of a group of 2 notes to make it into a duplet, or you add a number 3 on top of a group of 3 notes to make it into a triplet. Okay, going back to question 1.2 here, in the original melody, we have already grouped the notes into crotchet beats. If you look at the time signature again, it's 3 crotchets, right? Now let's look at our choices. We've got a choice. I'm just going to label them as A, B, and C. We've got 3 choices here. The first one is 9/8 time. Now 9/8 time means 9 quavers in a bar, which means 9 divided by 3 would be 3, and the unit will be 3 quavers, which means dotted crotchet, right? So this is 3 dotted crotchet beats. Now question B is the same, it's 9/8 time, which means this is also 3 dotted crotchet beats, right? But when you look at C, it says 12/8 time. 12 divided by 3 would be 4, so now you would have 4 dotted crotchet beats in question C. Question C is not the correct answer. Why? Because when you change from the original 3/4 time, 3 crotchet beats in a bar, well, even though you're changing it to the compound time, you cannot change the number of beats in a bar. If you start with 3 beats in a bar, it will not become 4 beats in a bar now, right? So question C would not be correct. And you are left with only choice A and choice B. Next, what you're going to do is just look at each beat and follow rule number 1 and number 2. Now, if you go back up here to this one, the first group is a dotted quaver plus a semiquaver plus a quaver, right? If you take a look at A here, Let's see. Now I'm going to just circle it like this. Why would I circle these three notes together? Because they are beamed together. When they are beamed together, you read them together as one group, okay? And for question B, again, these three are grouped together, and I'm going to read them together as one group as well. Now, comparing these two with the original, you see that the first one is not correct. So this is wrong. Why? Because the rhythm is different. You cannot change the rhythm. When you change it to simple time or compound time, you have to keep it exactly the same. Now, question B seems to be the correct answer. Well, because now that A and C are both wrong, there's only B left. But we're going to go over the whole bar anyways, just to make sure. So this one is correct because they have taken away number 3. There was a number 3 in the original. And for these two, again, we're going to read them together because they are beamed together like this. You are going to add the number 2 this time because there was no number in the original melody. So adding a 2 would be correct. And this is the last beat from the crotchet. We're going to add a dot to make it into a dotted crotchet. So all 3 beats are correct, and this is the correct answer. So question 1.3, complete the following 2 sentences by adding a number to each. There are 2 questions here, and it's worth 1 point each. So together there are 2 points for question 1.3. Question A, in 9/16 time, there are how many dotted quaver beats in a bar? So dotted quaver would be a quaver with a dot. So they are asking you in 9/16 time, how many dotted quaver beats are there? Now 9/16 time, the top number 9 shows compound time. So 9, bottom number 16 means semi-quaver. So 9 semi-quavers in a bar. What you want to do is divide the top number by 3. So you get 3 beats. And the bottom number 16 shows semi-quaver. You need 3 because you group 3 together into 1 beat in compound time. So 3 semi-quavers make 1 dotted quaver. So therefore, you get 3 beats of dotted quaver, and that would be the answer. So you're going to type in 3 when you do the exam because it's a digital exam online. Now for question B, a dotted semi-brief is equal to how many quavers? So dotted semi-brief would be good to prepare a piece of scrap paper when you do your exam. I would write down on the scrap paper that I'm doing question 1.3, and I will actually write down the question. Dotted semi-brief would be this equals to how many quavers. Then it will make the question much easier to read and understand. That will help eliminate careless mistake as well. A dotted semi-brief would be a semi-brief plus a half of a semi-brief, which is a minim. And in each crotchet, there are 2 quavers. And in the dotted semi-brief, there are 6 crotchets. So 6 times 2, which means 12. So there are 12 quavers altogether in a dotted semi-brief.